The problem is license plates, which are a murky area, not just in Texas, but also in Rhode Island. And it's an area that government can really put its foot into it and create a problem. Texas sounds like Rhode Island in some ways. It had 3 different kinds of license plates. The first category was just state plates. The second category is this case that are suggested by private parties, but they're still considered to be Texas state plates. And the third category is vanity plates, where you can just have your own name on your plate or something if you want to. Presumably that's your speech. The key thing here is that the Supreme Court said that the second category, even though the things were suggested by outside entities, is still government speech. And it's a huge definition and a troubling definition, I think, of what constitutes government speech. And if something's government speech, then the government is free to do whatever it wants, apparently, and without letting you have an alternative message to convey. The upshot of this is that Texas says, we don't approve of the Confederate Sons of Veterans logo on a license plate because that would become a Texas license plate, and we don't want to send that message. So in that sense, depending on your politics about the Confederate flag, it may have been a win because the court upheld Texas's right to say, no, we don't want that. Just like the governor of Alabama is recently under a tremendous amount of political pressure to take down the Confederate flag from the State House. And I think the same thing is true in South Carolina, from what I've been reading. The problem is this: if government puts up one flagpole or has a license plate and says, this is it, this is our speech, then it's really said, we approve of this message. And it better be very careful what it puts on the message, because it can be politically explosive. Conversely, if government says, as has happened in Rhode Island, oh, we want to open up our library hallways to any group that wants to have an art exhibit, and it's a wonderful sounding thing, and a lot of groups signed up, and they get a month of free exhibits in the hallways, and then along comes an extremely unpopular group and says, we'll do that next month, and the board suddenly says, oh no, we never wanted that. And you have what's called a public forum now, because government has gone too far, has opened up a public forum, which it did not have to do, but it did do it. And once it opens it up, then it really needs to allow various groups, whether they're popular or not, to express themselves. And I think the difficulty with the Texas license plate is that really government speech, or once it asks for suggestions from all these various private entities, is it becoming some type of at least a limited public forum? And the same thing can happen in Rhode Island. It's one thing to say, welcome to the ocean state. It's another thing to put on Mr. Potato Head. And you get into tricky issues about how far are you going in terms of opening up the license plate to becoming a public forum.
Yeah, sure. And we consider this a loss for that reason.
I think that the danger of declaring such a broad definition of government speech is why the ACLU considers it a loss, yes. Yeah. Once you accept that it's government speech, there's no further problem with the decision, I don't think. But declaring it to be government speech is a problem. Yeah.